Hello everybody and welcome inside the Rockwall Sportscenter Heath Hawk Update. I'm Chris Curtis, joined by the voice of the Hawks, Steve Deere. And Steve, unfortunately this will be our last Sportscenter update for the year as the Hawks fall 24-17 at AT&T Stadium. So kind of talk about what went wrong for the Heath Hawks. We can start with the turnovers maybe.
Yeah, well, it's true. You know, Coach Moss and I talked earlier in the year, and the Hawks were on the other end of the turnover battle. I don't remember what the game was, but they had gotten like 5 turnovers from the other team. And I asked him a question. You ever been on the losing end of a game where you were able to get 5 turnovers or win the turnover battle by 5? And he said, he kind of chuckled, no, I've never done that. Well, that's just obviously the word there is that it's hard to overcome when you're down by 5 or 6 turnovers, and that's what happened Saturday night. Just happened to be the game of the year that the Hawks turned it over more than any other, and it's hard to overcome. I mean, it's actually a testimony to the team and their fight, especially on the defensive side, that they were able to keep it as close as they were, considering the number of turnovers that they had.
And of course, I meant Saturday night, not Friday night. But yeah, like you mentioned, this team was in this ball game even with 6 turnovers, and Wiley was really using that kicking game to their advantage, and that was really frustrating. As I was on the sideline, the players were frustrated by it. I think they had recovered 2 onside kicks. Wiley did, so I think 1 came back on a penalty, but still. They were in this game, and the very end, what makes it so frustrating and they had a chance to win it in the final 2, or tie it in the final 2 minutes.
Well, consider this. You had the onside kick that they recovered in Hawk territory. They had the very questionable reception fumble return. Replay showed that it probably shouldn't have been called a reception, but they returned that inside the 10-yard line. They had a number because of turnovers, onside kicks, everything. They started in Hawk territory. Defense shut them down. Many of those times allowed minimal or no points. Again, just a testimony to the way that this defense has played all year. We're going to miss some of those guys, and we'll talk about that more in a minute here. But, yeah, the onside kicks were weird. They almost got 2 of them. Ken Taylor was talking in the booth about the coach up in Arkansas that does an onside kick every single game or every single kick because of the potential for havoc that it creates for the other team. If you only convert 1 out of maybe 3 or 4 of those, your team recovers, then it's a huge advantage. Well, they almost got 2 of them. So, yeah, that was chaotic, confusing. We were trying to figure out what they were doing up in the booth. It was a different element to the game for sure.
Is it frustrating, and I know you have to be the voice of Mickey Mouse here, but is it frustrating to appear to be better than the team on the other side of the field that raised that trophy at AT&T Stadium? I mean, it almost appeared like Heath was really the better team in this game, but unfortunately the score didn't show it, and Rockwall-Heath's heading home. I
don't know if I would agree with that necessarily. Wiley is peaking at the right time. They've been playing very well for about a month now. I'm not going to say they were better than the Hawks. I'm really not going to say the Hawks were better than Wiley because I think they were very, very evenly matched. The final score indicates that. A couple of those bounces, the turnovers go the other way, then Hawks may have come out on top. But they were a really evenly matched team. And so frustrating, well, I mean, it's always frustrating to lose and go home. The fortunate thing is you get into the playoffs and you're advancing this far. The unfortunate thing is a couple of unlucky or strange breaks go the other way and you're going home for the season. So, yeah, that's frustrating, but I wouldn't say that the Hawks were the better team. I wouldn't say that Wiley was a better team. I would say they were both very evenly matched teams.
Talk about the seniors. We mentioned them. There are a handful of seniors that have been very valuable to this Heath Hawk team the last couple of years. Let's talk about them and their contributions to this team and really leading this team with a bunch of young kids on the team.
Well, primarily you're looking at the defensive side of the ball. Real leadership over there by Corey Wilkerson, Zach Dobbins, Garrett Sweeney. Those guys are going to be graduating and moving on. They've been great. They've been playing very well this year. Corey Wilkerson and Zach Dobbins were the only 2 defensive players starters returning this year. Both of them all-district performers last year. They'll probably be all-district again this year. It'd be a crime if they're not because of the way the Hawk defense played this year. But the Hawks will lose those guys. The good news is for the first time in several years, the Hawks are going to return almost everybody else virtually intact, especially in the offensive side of the ball. It's been just a churn the last couple of years. We lost a ton 2 years ago. We lost a ton again last year. Coach Moss told the story about prior to the Sulphur Springs game this year, the first game of the season. He asked a question, who's played in this game before? Who played in this game last year? And only one person, Corey Wilkerson, raised his hand. That's how much of a turnover there was prior to this year. Now, the good news is we've talked about the super softs all year. It started out the Dirty Dozen, and it just grew from there. A lot of players that are going to be returning next year, a lot of players that are going to be a year bigger, faster, stronger, more experienced, have another off-season conditioning and skills opportunity to improve. So the Hawks will come back stronger next year. Everything that happened this year, all the experience they gained this year, everything that went on, they're going to come back better next year because, yes, we do lose some key seniors, but compared to recent years, the loss is minimum.
And of course, you also had those 2 extra weeks of practice for making the playoffs and advancing in the bye district. So you get those extra playoff practices, which are probably much needed for this young team. They finished 8-4 on the year, which is nothing to hang your head about. This is a very young team, as you mentioned, sophomores, juniors, a handful of seniors. So the outlook does look good for this team coming up. And of course, we want to knock on the door and mention that looks like Rockwall-Heath will be moving to 6A next year. We can move on with that. We've looked at the possibilities. We could add some East Texas teams. The Mesquite schools, the Garland schools are still in play. So whatever happens next year, it's not going to be an easy district by any means necessary if it's looking at what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, and we were visiting beforehand. The Hawks, like I said, they're going to be a better team next year. There's no doubt about it. They may not have as good a record just because of the district that they're going to be put in. Now, I mean, I don't want to jinx anybody. They're going to be very, very competitive, and they're going to be good. But if it works out the way that the rumors are looking like, and the things are lining up here, they're not going to have any easy district games. They're not going to have any layups. Talked a little bit about that. There are teams in the district the last couple of years, and I won't name anybody, that were considered easier games. That we knew going in, we knew it was going to be a victory. This district that's shaping up, no such luck. There's not going to be any layups, not going to be any victories. Every single week is going to be a dogfight.
Dogfight will begin in about 267 more days. Of course, that's when football season kicks off. Looks like it's going to be around August 26th of next year. So got a few months to kind of recuperate, get stronger. As you mentioned, get stronger, get faster. A bunch of young kids will be in camps this spring, this summer. They'll be playing baseball. A lot of them will be playing baseball. So a lot of excitement about that. And, of course, you are going to be taking your journey to the basketball hardwood, right?
Yeah. Heath has one of the top-ranked basketball teams in the state again this year. I'm stepping into the play-by-play for basketball this year, so I'm looking forward to following the basketball guys. I think I just got confirmation from His Honor, David Sweet, that we're going to do the game together when Heath plays at Rockwall in a couple of weeks, and so you can listen in if you're not in the gym. Listen in and hear how that one goes, and then we'll be following through district and hopefully a deeper run in the playoffs, not only than basketball had last year, but then what football had this year, and hopefully it'll be a deep run.
Of course, that basketball team brought back a lot of their starters from last year, that team that went undefeated until the second round of the playoffs. And
are we going to do a Sportscenter update for
We should do a few next year. We should absolutely do it once the new year hits here. But, of course, we want to thank Rockwall Sportscenter for helping us out this year and sponsoring the show. We brought it to you every week from the stadium we went to Rockwall High School for a little bit there. We went down to Rockwall-Heath for a little bit there. I want to thank Coach Moss for helping us out and everybody else for helping us throughout this journey for our second year. And, of course, we'll come back bigger, faster, stronger like Heath will in the third year and hopefully have a nice little set next year. We're working on it. Got to get in the gym, work out a little bit. Yeah, I got to get up to par apparently.
I don't need the bigger part myself.
There you go.
Need the faster and stronger.
Well, with Thanksgiving coming up, that could hurt both of us right there. So, but of course, any final thoughts on the season? Wrap it up 8-4, fantastic football season, and we're excited about next year.
Final thoughts are this: we headed into this season. We talked about it at length going into the season. We did not know what we had on our hands. So much turnover, so many kids that were going to be playing. They ended up being very good. What did they end up with? A 7-game winning streak, I think, at the end of the season. You don't get that every year. I hope the Hawk fans appreciate what this team, what the coaching staff, it's a pretty stable coaching staff, what they're bringing to the table every year. Not everybody gets a 2-3 week run or deeper into the playoffs every year, especially with a team that was this young and this inexperienced. So good things on the horizon. Next year will be an exciting year. The offseason is going to be an exciting year to see how things shake out, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year.
And of course, if all things play out the way they're supposed to play out, Rockwall-Heath versus Rockwall.
Oh, yeah.
Once again.
Oh, yeah.
So there's your plug for the offseason.
I don't care what the scenario is. I think that's a given. We will be back in district with Rockwall. I'm looking forward to circling that date right now and seeing the stadium full over there for both sides.
It'll be a fun time, of course. Steve, thank you again for helping us out this year and being the voice of the Heath Hawks. We appreciate it, and thanks for all the viewers that tuned in and to this show and to the broadcast. And, of course, we want to thank Rockwall Sportscenter one more time. And, of course, December 8th, Basketball will be back on. You'll hear Steve Deere once again. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday season, and we'll see you right back here late August for Rockwall-Heath football. We'll talk to you later.